left-hand corner is the menu. And in that menu, you have the choice of one person, and that is your data, two people, where you can make a one-on-one comparison, and three people is a team of people, and it can be far more than three people. So VuJaDe helps all people in all meetings, particularly when we have this data, to understand how they operate in the world.
I love this, what we're talking about here, and I see how it works with two people or one person, but if I'm in a large organization, let's say with 1,000 people, I'm curious to see how do you digest it, that aggregate, into something where it's usable across the organization. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's a great question, Tom, and a great segue in terms of where we're headed next, because we're going to basically move from these one-on-one connections into how we utilize the data in a team environment and basically represent everybody in the organization or in the team who have done VuJaDe.
I mean, if everyone takes the assessment, now you've got 1,000 assessments in this organization.
Right.
So there's a 9.8 trillion combinations or whatever.
Right.
Just curious how you use that and integrate it into their organization to get change to occur.
Our data is across the bottom. The kinesthetic, basically, it's to be in motion, to be doing. And I think highly kinesthetic people are also very gifted in picking up on feelings and emotions. They can walk into a room and they can feel the energy and know either positive things are happening or what's going on here. The auditories, they love the discussion, the debate, and something really critical about auditory people, highly auditory people, is that they ask lots of questions. They can sometimes come across intimidating in this rapid fire of questions that they ask. But my experience of the world over the years has been they don't necessarily ask questions out of power. They're asking questions out of curiosity. And last, those who are very visual, like myself, we like to see, we like pictures, charts, graphs, data, and basically we live in this world of imagery and taking in information by what we see. The frustration that kinesthetic people, I believe, oftentimes have is, don't you feel what I'm feeling? Auditories, don't you hear what I'm hearing? And visuals, don't you see what I'm seeing? Any questions on the sensory piece?
Monty, I just want to add in the numbers below and the letters. If it's a capital letter, that means that is a primary preference you have. And it's important, there's a slight bit of difference on the statistical piece between sensory and the other two constructs. In sensory, because it's a multi-factor comparison, the only way to really show it well is less is more. So if you have a 0, that is your most preferred style. That changes with the other two. A higher number, more is more in the other two constructs. But so just if it's a small letter, so I'm looking here at myself. A is my tertiary, and I'm 0.5 standard deviations out. So just wanted to get those score bits there for people who are interested.
And then go to my scores here real quick, Doug. I am hugely visual, like I say, and I'm way out beyond 4.5 standard deviations from the mean on my visual, on my kinesthetic and my auditory.
So if you remember Monty's pie chart, it was 100% visual, less than 1% on the other two. That's how it translates into these scores.
And there is nobody like me on the planet, and I'm happy and proud. Okay, temperament. As I said, we're using the classic definitions here. Energy from the environment for the introverts, and extroverts, energy from others. And we can see here in the group, and we'll show this in a little while, the group leans a little bit on the introvert side, and we'll show that in quadrants here momentarily. And last, cognitive. Cognitive is sort of how we make sense of whatever it is that we're working on. And process people really seek to understand the steps, the methodology, and the logic. We as a group are all over on the outcome side, with Grace Ann balanced right at 0. So she's right at the mean. And for both temperament and cognitive, more is more, per what Doug had basically said in terms of multi-factor analysis versus having a spectrum of two variables. So Grace Ann, she can roll into the process probably a little more quickly and more happily than the rest of us. Whereas I'm way out here going past Pluto into interstellar space in terms of being big picture. Minutes here now to take you into the heart of the system. And that is the team data. And who was it? Tom, I think you were asking the question, how does this apply into an organization? Our assumptions are the more people who do it, the smarter the organization is going to be in terms of how to respect and appreciate and build rapport and build trust within organizations. So if everybody has data in the system, and everybody is willing and comfortable of sharing their data with each other, it should lend itself to better connecting, communicating, and collaborating with each other, leading to respect, appreciation, and trust. So we've got Tom here. Tom, you're in red, and I am in the tan. And we're looking at the quadrants. On the y-axis,
Monty froze there for a moment. Hopefully he's going to come back.
the process on the left.
Monty, you just froze. Just start again on the Y quadrant.
On the Y.
Yep, please.
Oh, okay. Sorry. On the Y, extrovert is at the top, introvert is at the bottom. And across the bottom, the x-axis, process over on the left and outcome over on the right. So what are your observations of the data looking at the quadrant here? The OD, the growth OD group of people who have now done VuJaDe. Anybody want to give their observation, please?
Dreamers who aren't so good at the practical steps.
Okay.
That's your way of looking at it.
Okay, so show where Grace Ann is, Doug. Right there's Grace Ann. So by hovering over the dot here, we can see that Grace Ann is kinesthetic auditory, both of them in caps. So that means that she toggles back and forth very readily between her auditory and her kinesthetic and vice versa. Tertiary visual. She is extrovert, so she's above the mean. And she's right at the mean on the process versus outcome, meaning that she can toggle back and forth between, gee, I've got an idea, I got a thought here, and then I've got a plan, I got some steps, I got some methodology, and she can very readily move back and forth between the two. I have found over the years that people in that sort of right down the mean there also are really good at mediation, as they can sort of hear the differences between sort of the dreamers, the big picture people, the people thinking about what's the goal, the desired outcome, and those people who are looking for the details, the steps, the methodology, the logic. So she can work in a place where she can hear both sides very, very, very easily. Grace Ann, can you do that?
I think so.
Okay, okay.
He does it all the time. Show me, I think I'm up there above her somewhere.
Yeah, you're up there, right there. Yep.
Yeah, that's me up by Space Cadet. Yeah.
There's David. So what Doug is doing here is he can go in and pop in people's names. So now he's got Grace Ann in the red dot and David in the tan dot, and can basically show their data in the quadrant, as well as he's got it over here on temperament. We can see both of them are extrovert. And Grace Ann is not quite as extroverted as David is. So my assumption is David is more like a popcorn machine in a movie theater with all sorts of things bubbling up all the time. And Grace Ann is a little bit more reserved and sort of holds back a little bit more than what David would. How's that as a description?
Yes. Right
Yes.
on.
I agree, and thank goodness for Grace Ann. I'm grateful.